Okay, so we're going to go on to 9.5, which is surface area of prisms, cylinders, pyramids, and cones. When I say surface area, what is that? The area of the surface. And in this case, our surfaces are called what? Faces. So essentially all you're doing on this, guys, is you could find, if you ever get stuck on these problems and you forget a formula or you forget what you're doing, you're just essentially finding the area of every single face and then adding it. So if I think about the prism, this is a net. Have you guys talked about nets before? It'd be like if I open this guy up, or if you were to go and fold this guy to make this is what the net looks like. So it's a whole bunch of rectangles, right? Are you guys able to find area of a rectangle? Okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can find the area of one rectangle and multiply it by 6 to find that part, right? And then the top and the bottom is a hexagon. Did we learn in this unit how to find area of polygons? Yes. So all you're needing to do is find the area of that hexagon and add it, or multiply by 2 and then add it to that. How do I find area? Looking back, how do I find area of polygons? Someone remind me. Apothem times perimeter divided by 2. Well, would I necessarily need to divide by 2 to find these? Because how many am I needing to find? 2. So if I divide by 2 but then multiply by 2, isn't that just canceling that part out? So to find the top and the bottom, you're going to do apothem times perimeter. Okay? To that, you are going to add the perimeter of the base times the height of this figure. Because perimeter of the base would give you this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this, and then you would multiply it by the height. Well, isn't that how you find a rectangle? Area of a rectangle? Base times height? So you're just doing perimeter of the base times height and then adding to that apothem times the perimeter. Does that make sense? Okay. This is the formula you need to know. I think probably what I will do is for the quiz and for the test, you guys will have a note card where you can fill these out on your own. And if you bring that note card with the formulas, then you can use that on the test. Okay? The other one we're going to talk about right now is cylinder. So the top and the bottom are what? Circles. Well, how do I find the area of a circle? Pi r squared. How many circles do I have here that are alike? So I'm going to do 2 times pi r squared. To that, I'm going to add, what's that middle section? What shape is it? It's a rectangle. Real quick, tell me, what is this length equal to? Oh gosh, good job. Isn't it equal to the circumference? Because if I were going to unroll that originally was down around that circle, and then I unroll it and it becomes the circumference. So what's the formula? Because what I'm getting at is to find the area of this rectangle, it's just base times height. But in this case, our base is actually our circumference. What's the formula for circumference? Pi r times 2. If you had diameter, could you just use diameter times pi? Okay. And then to that, I'm going to multiply it, so that's the base. Multiply it by what? The height of the figure. And then you'll add those two things together. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's try some of these together. Number 1 is the cylinder. So we're going to go off this formula. So I'm going to just plug it in. 2 times pi times what's my radius? Times what's my height? 13. To that I'm going to add, so I'm going to do all that first. And then once I do that, I'm going to add 2 times pi times what's my radius again? 7 squared. So you're going to do both of those things and then add them together. Someone tell me what you get when you do that. 2 what? And if you multiply through by pi, what do you get?
879.6.
You guys agree? What would my units on surface area be? inches squared. Because it's all area. So area is squared, right? Okay, B. What kind of shape do we have here? Triangular prism. So I'm going to go back to this, right? Okay. Let's think about this. Here's the top and the bottom, right? So what does the A stand for again? Apothem. Times what? Perimeter. And when we talk about perimeter, it's the perimeter of what? Yep, the base, the triangle. So, what is the height of this triangle? I'm just taking the triangle out. What's the height of it? How long is it here? And then this is what we call a slant height, kind of. Could I find that? Oh, this is a triple. 5, 12, 13. What's the apothem of this guy? No, it's 12. The apothem is 12 here, because remember the apothem made a 90-degree angle with its side. Okay? So the apothem's 12. So I'm going to do apothem times the perimeter. So I'm going to do 12 times, what's my perimeter of this? Yep. To that I'm going to add P times H. Perimeter of base, we already know that. What is that? 30 again. Times what's my height of this guy? 6. All right, what's 30 times 6? 180. 12 times 30, 12 times 3, add a 0. 360, that's where that 360 came from. What's 360 plus 180? $540, right? Units squared. Guys, it feels uncomfortable. Does it feel uncomfortable to you? Yeah, just because it's like there's a lot of different math and a lot of different things, and that's okay. Go ahead and I want you to try number 2 on your own. All right, help me, guys. The regular polygonal prism below has a surface area of 115. What is the length of the base's apothem? Okay, so we know that it equals 115, right? So if I go back up to this formula, it says perimeter. What is the perimeter of this guy? What essentially I'm doing, guys, is I'm plugging in what I know to solve for the apothem, right? What's the perimeter of this pentagon? I'm sorry? 20. So it's perimeter times height. What's my height? 3. Plus apothem times the perimeter, which we just said was how much? Equals the surface area, right? So we have one letter to solve for. Am I able to solve for that letter? Okay. What is 20 times 3? So now we have 60 plus 20a, essentially, right? So I'm going to subtract 60 from both sides. What's 115 minus 60? 55. And what do I do now? Is this how you guys did it? No? Did you do it a different way? Let's see if we get the same answer. Let's hope. We did? Okay. What is that? 2.75? 2.75, is that right? Yeah? Yes, so you guys found this triangle and did this whole thing and found that this was 2 down here and then did SOHCAHTOA? Perfect. Do I care which method you guys use typically? No. So whatever method works for you, that's fine. All right. Still feels uncomfortable. The more you practice it, the better it'll feel. All right, on the back, we have 2 shapes. What do we have here now? A what and a what? Pyramid and a cylinder. Let's start with the cylinder. I feel like cylinder is a little bit easier. It is pi r squared plus pi r l. And it's always like a cursive looking L. Does anybody know what a cursive looking L stands for? I don't think you probably have ever talked about it. So on a cylinder, we have R. We know what R stands for, right? What's R? Radius. We have also what's called H. H is the height going from the top corner straight down at a 90-degree angle. So that makes a 90-degree angle. L, what we call L, is the slant height. The slant height. So L equals slant height. So to find the surface area, this is the formula we use. Go ahead and try B and number 4 on your own, knowing that. So on this, I will do pi times r squared. What's my r? 3 squared plus pi times my radius again, but times my slant height. Is my slant height 4? But what kind of triangle does this make? So what can I use to find my third side if I know 2? Pythagorean theorem. Or if you know your Pythagorean triples, it's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So the slant height on this is 5. So that's 9 pi plus 15 pi, which would give me 24 pi. And 24 pi, if I multiply it out, rounded to the nearest hundredth, is how much? Point what? Go 2 decimal places for me.
We round up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Perfect. In a Schoology assignment, sometimes they want you to put a 0 there. If they say round to the nearest hundredth, they still want you to show 2 decimal places. And so if it does round up like that, put a 0 at the end. Sometimes it'll accept both answers, but just to make sure.
Yeah, it's like 0.398.
Okay. Perfect. Yep. Then 0.40. The solid below has a surface area of 28 pi. What is the length of its slant height? So we know pi times, did they give me the radius? They gave me the diameter, right? So what's my radius? 2 squared plus 2 times the slant height times pi, right? So that's 4 pi plus 2 times L times pi. Well, I'm going to subtract 4 pi from both sides. What's 28 pi's minus 4 pi's? Yep. So pi is still in it. Yes. Crap. I'm hoping your bus is still out there. To divide by 2 pi and divide by 2 pi here to get the slant height by itself. So 24 divided by 2 is what? So my slant height is 12. Okay, pyramid. Here's how you find the area of a pyramid. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to find the area of the base. So that's my capital B, area of the base. So whatever figure it is, you have to find the area of that. You have to refer back to 2 sections ago to find area of polygons. Okay? And then to that, you are going to add 1/2 times P times L. 1/2 times P times L. What does P stand for? Perimeter of the base. What does L stand for? The slant height of this figure. So perimeter of the base times the slant height of this figure, divided by 2 essentially, plus the area of the base, whatever the area of the base may be. Does that make sense? Okay. With that knowledge, I want you to try number 3. Area of the base. How do you find the area of this base? It's a triangle. So how do I find area of that triangle? Base times height, divide by 2, right? To that, I'm going to add 1/2 times my perimeter. Well, it's a regular polygon, so if this is 8, that means this is 8 and this is 8. So what's that perimeter? Times my slant height, which they put on there, of 10. 6 on that. Guys, change this. This is not a cylinder. This is a cone. Your homework is page 6, 7, and 8.